At the beginning, how did you discover your passion for acting and storytelling?
I was in grade 12 and I just took an elective on the side just to kind of like play around with. And then I did The Importance of Being Earnest, Oscar Wilde's play, and I played Gwendolyn and I loved it. Like I just was like, oh my God, people do this for a living. So I went to the University of Sydney and I decided let's just take a year off. Went to and my mom was like, you got to do something. You can't just go, gallivanting around. So I decided to take a course at the American Academy of Dramatic Arts, and then discovered New York and got accepted there. So I decided to just stay here, and then I started working pretty much straight after graduating.
You look at your career as a whole, who or what's had the biggest influence, either personally or professionally?
So I think for me, in terms of just professionally, I think my teacher, he has just, Peter Jensen, who's at the Terry Schreiber Studios, he's just been grounded in the way how he's shaped my craft, and a mentor in that sense of just like always trust your instincts, and allowed me to just explore how far I can go with certain things. But just in terms of, professional influences, it's all about just experiencing, learning, making mistakes, and just knowing not to do them again if you can.
You've said in previous interviews that you faced a lot of adversity and there weren't a lot of opportunities for Asians within this industry. How were you able to persevere? And when did you start noticing that shift towards greater representation and diversity?
Yeah, for me, I really had to put aside all the judgments or the feedback that I got. And it wasn't even, criticism of my performances. It was just that, well, they're going to go this way. You're not Asian enough. You're too Asian. And it was really hard to hear a lot of that feedback because it wasn't about my performance. It was about just who I am. And I couldn't change that. And in the end, I had to just let that go and just really trust that the choices that I was making are just going to have to be enough in the audition room. And so that was something that I had to really get over, and not take it so personally, despite all the feedback that I couldn't change. The only thing that I could change and really solidify were the choices that I made in the room, and the confidence that I brought with that. And that definitely took a long time because after you hear so many things that about you that you can't do about, then you definitely, lose a lot of hope. But I think it's just about perseverance and just trusting that if this is what you love doing, and that you want to kind of, express yourself in that way, and share it with the world, it's just, you have to trust your instincts as well. So that's something that I highly recommend to anyone and don't think about. And then for me, I really had to drop the fact that there are going to be judgments. You just have to make them decide that you are this character. So
Mm,
yeah.
yeah, great answer. And The Cleaning Lady premiered this week, and it became the network's highest rated new drama in 2 years. And you're in a unique position now where you get to see the fan response in real time via social media. What has that experience been like, and what has this milestone meant to you?
It's incredible, Kevin, because first of all, I'm not even a social media person. So I was on the plane and I couldn't even watch it because I was flying from Australia to Sydney, but I was able to get Twitter, my Twitter feed was like, I just was like, oh my God. And it was all positive. I didn't read any kind of backlash or anything. Everybody just really applauded the representation that this show brought. And it was just, you could see people's just honestly joy and
Yeah.
relief that finally that, we are represented on a platform that everybody, watches every day. Everybody has some kind of form of entertainment, but to the fact that it's taken this long, it's wonderful. Though I think it's never too late for change, and the fact that it's evolving in a really groundbreaking way. And for Miranda Kwok and Melissa Carter to just shape this show, so that it is representative of all cultures, especially with the diversity in the writers, obviously the cast, even the directors, the producers. It's just so representative of all cultures, and I think it lends authenticity to what the show
Mhm.
is about. So yeah.
Yeah, whenever you're the first to do something, there's always going to be a lot of attention and eyes on it. Did that bring any pressure to this project?
I never thought about it with shooting. I mean, for me, it was all about just being present, really living out the characters' experiences and giving just authentic moments so that, you know, people really want to care about you as a character. But when it came to, when I saw the response and, you know, just how quick everybody is willing to respond and share their responses, you know, you always just hope for the best. And the positivity that has surrounded this and the feedback has been wonderful from the viewers themselves, you know, and I think it says a lot to what the world is asking for right now. So, yeah.
You know, authenticity is one of the big reasons why I think the show has resonated with audiences and will continue to do so. How much of a hand do you have shaping your character? What is that collaboration like with the writer's room?
They're very collaborative. Again, Melissa and Miranda Kwok have created such an environment where they do allow for us to talk to the writers. The writers are actually on set, so it's wonderful to meet them and, you know, say thank you for giving us such rich characters that can just go on so many emotional journeys. But yes, there is room for you know, just collaboration here in terms of you finding your character and they're seeing it together with you. So they you know, they understand the evolution of that and want I guess, yeah, a creative kind of I guess collaboration. I keep saying that. But I think that's why it is such a grounded, you know, show, because of that authenticity and the fact that we do communicate and they allow that. Otherwise, it would just be, you know, stilted, I think.
And the show has so many intense moments, but your character in particular brings a lot of levity as well. For you as an actress, is one more challenging than the other?
No, it's funny because I was never into, I mean, most of the shows that I've done has always been drama. So for this time, it was the first time that I could actually just have fun. But it was great just to shift back and forth. But I think that's just Fiona. That's just Fiona. Well, I don't know. Maybe people who know me probably say no, Martha. But I loved just, yeah, the fact that she's so unpredictable that one minute she'll just be like laughing, next minute she's going to want to punch you. So there's the only challenge in that is to make sure that it is real and that it is grounded and it's believable. And for me, in order to get to that point is just to stay connected and really understand what she's going through and what are the stakes, whether it's comedy or emotion, you know, a dramatic scene. But yeah, she's like ding, ding, ding.
Fiona has the biggest transformation throughout this series. How did you prepare to tackle her arc?
To be honest with you, I didn't even know what was going to happen to her. It's like episode by episode. So I was always on my toes of what's going to happen to her next. So I had to really remain present with what just happened. What are the consequences of the last episode? What are the decisions she just made? And then seeing what they have written, how am I going to apply those decisions and that reaction to, you know, what's going to happen next? So in terms of the arc, I'm just so grateful to the writers who have shaped that for me. And for me to go through that ride, I think it's just a blessing for an actor to just kind of go in on set and just be like, all right, let's just go with the flow and see what happens. and with that, you know, it's I think that's why it's just so fluid in terms of how she has evolved and her empowerment and finding a voice. So it's always exciting, and I love the fact that I don't really know what's going to happen, because in life that's how it is. It's just about, we don't know what's going to happen. It's about how we respond to circumstances and if we've learned from our mistakes.
You know, there's going to be a big reveal involving your character in episode 2. What effect will that not only have on her, but all the characters moving forward?
I think with Fiona's situation, there's always a big reveal. I think there's always just like, I mean, for me, whenever I read the script, I'm like, really? Oh, okay. So in all essence, for me, it's all about family, and you know what happens with one family, one person in the family is going to affect everyone. So it's just about how we bond and deal with those circumstances, and how our relationships are strengthened throughout that. And so, it's definitely an emotional ride, you know, and then also just allowing for those issues to be grounded and real, so that it is relatable to everybody, because we're dealing with extraordinary circumstances. Not
Yeah.
everybody's undocumented, and or working for the mob, but but if you bring it down to just the bottom line, it's about family, and it's about what would you do for your family. So I think making those choices of really focusing on that is what our performances stay grounded. It's how our performances stay grounded.
There's so many moments within the show that are going to stay with audiences. Is there a particular scene or episode that you're really excited for fans to see?
I mean, for me, obviously, I mean, episode 5 was just like episode 4 and 5, because you just see like one side, extreme side of Fiona, and then the other side, the other extreme side of Fiona. So, but in terms of just the whole, even the relationship between Tony and Fiona as well changed. But episode 5 was just emotionally challenging, but I think it's also going to, allow people to see really our world
Mm,
of what we deal with being undocumented. And not to say we're condoning that, but just in terms of why the choices we've made and why we're in that situation, and obviously all the risks that we're taking, but for the good of the family. So, I mean, yeah, working with Elodie as well, she's just incredible, because we've become, speaking of family, it's just like we've become like family, offset as well. Like I love her and adore her. She is like kind of my big sister and mentor as well. So that really translates on screen, and you can see that. And we care about each other as actors as well. Even we're very present, and if we're not, it's like, let's do it again. So
mm.
that's why I think a lot of those scenes are very impactful and powerful, because we really care about how our characters are portrayed.
Definitely. And I got one final question for you. During the pandemic, you were also coaching aspiring young actors. If you could share a piece of advice with them, what would it be and why?
I think trust your instincts. No matter what anyone says to you, your first instinct is yours and yours alone, and nobody else is going to make that. And that's what your choices as an actor coming into the room is going to be unique. So really embrace who you are, trust what your inner self says the first go, and don't second guess yourself.